So I couldn't break past 10K a month until I fixed this one thing. And in this video, I'm gonna be showing you what it was. It was my mindset, okay? Because a bad mindset and a good work ethic can get you to 10K a month, but it'll keep you stuck there. And most people think that mindset isn't an issue. They think they have a good mindset. They're already making 10K a month, but you have the mindset of a 10K a month entrepreneur. And that's exactly why you're stuck at 10K a month. You need to fix the foundations. And when you can fix this, it will allow you to scale to 50K a month for me in a matter of weeks. So I'm going to be showing you the 5 mindset traits that I had to shift, okay? The first step is just understanding why people actually fail, because people will start a journey and they can't see the effect immediately, so they give up and quit before it starts compounding. And you're obviously like, okay, well, I'm already making money, like it's fine. But what was happening to me was that I was doing cold outreach to get to 10K a month. And then when I hit 10K a month, I had all these clients coming through. So I stopped the outreach to focus on delivering for the clients. And then a month later, I had made like 2K that month because I hadn't done what got me there. And so at every level, people struggle with this until they understand it and until they address it, where you need to be able to remember what you do to get you to a certain point of effect, so then you can continue running that up and going upward. Because if you forget, let's say you start getting an effect here, right? Maybe you hit your first 10K a month, you forget, then you have to restart this whole process again, where your memory fades and then your effects start to increase and as time goes on, okay? So what you need to remember is you need to remember what actually got you to this success. So if outreach got you to 10K a month, you need to double down on outreach. You don't need to do all these other things necessarily. You need to double down on what got you there, because the chances are you're not scaling that. My first 50K month came from cold outreach. It was in like February of this year or something, okay? So people who stick to it long enough experience a compounding effect, but forget what was responsible for creating it, and it makes things feel chaos and out of their control. I had all these clients coming to me on my first few 10K months. I was like, okay, this is great. I'm gonna stop outbound. Outbound is for losers anyway. Let me just deliver. And then the next month I made 2K. Like, this is probably the biggest reason why you're stuck in this cycle if you really distill it down. The next thing is time, okay? So here's the effect of memory versus time, okay? And then the effect versus time, because your memory over time fades. As I was saying before, this is kind of just an expanded part, but the effect increases. And so if you don't remember over time what got you the effect, then this is why you're gonna fail. This is why you should literally be documenting what's getting you success. When you're on a high, you need to be documenting that, because when you're on a low, you need to have that in memory. Because when you're between 10 and 50K a month and you haven't scaled past it, you just haven't got this refined craft yet. And so everything feels like guesswork, or at least for me, everything felt like guesswork. And it was just so chaotic and so stressful to, be having these peaks and these drops all the time, and then having to like try and restart everything to try and get up to this peak, and then watching everything fall back down again, and just this cycle, this overwhelming cycle. And it only was able to stop when I actually addressed mindset as the actual issue, and also when I did cut my outbound and go all in on paid ads. Now, if you're watching this video and you don't have a paid ad strategy, you're not using them, just go ahead, check my other content. I make daily videos where I break down the ad strategy I use to scale to 50K a month and beyond. Like, I'm about to hit my first 100K a month at 16. Anyway, now I want to talk about delayed results. This is something I'm very big on. It's something I'm very passionate about as well, where it's like, let's say this here is your revenue and this is the time it takes. As you're putting in time, the revenue is not going to increase. And so you're going to be working and wondering like, oh, I hope this works. I hope this pays off. I hope I'll make it. When in reality, it's just a delay. Like the input you're putting here is delayed. So the work you do right here is responsible for the money you get here. There's just a delay, and it's not linear. It's not going to go straight between them. But the coolest part is it's exponential. And this has happened so many times on my entrepreneurship journey, where I've been like, I had a terrible month. I made like, let's say 2K. This was back in the day when, it was the trenches basically. And I was just like, oh my God, like, what am I even going to do? Like, I want to drop out of school, but I only made 2K this month. But I was working hard. I was hustling, and I was putting the intention into it. That's another thing I want to talk about. Intention. Intent. I'm just going to say intent. But anyway, the next month from this, I made my first 50K a month, because I was putting in the efforts, but the results was delayed. And that's when I realized how important it is, whenever you're working, whenever you're in like a tough place, to just understand that results are always going to be delayed. Okay, the work you put in today is going to equate to the results you get a month from now or 2 months from now. And that is just on such an exponential scale. This YouTube video and the YouTube videos that I make every single day, they're not going to do anything for me for the next year, but think 5-10 years when I have this track record of daily YouTube content. Of course I'm going to have a massive following. Of course things are going to pay off very, very well. And the other thing is intent. I truly believe if you're doing things with the right intention, and this isn't some like woo-woo stuff, like if you're doing things with the right intention, what I mean by that is if you're putting in the work and if you're trying your absolute best with the intention of being successful, that's all that matters. Like that's all that matters, because then you're going to be on the right path and things are going to pay off for you. So the intention is really important. As long as you can intentionally show up and not just force yourself, that's going to be really important. Okay, now I'm going to show you the success matrix, which is how to outwork and outsmart everyone. Okay, so if you're putting in high effort but you have low strategy, you're going to end up burning out. Okay, if you have like low strategy and then a higher effort, you're going to stagnate. If you have low strategy and low effort, you're just going to stagnate. If you have high strategy but low effort, it's just going to be inefficient. And so the most optimal thing here is having high efforts. You're putting a lot of effort in, but you also have the right strategy to pour that effort, to pour that time into. It's all about the intention, as I was saying, to pour like it into the right things. Okay, and then finally, the most important principle yet is your why. Okay, it's understanding your reason. My first 50K month, I didn't even know what my why was. I didn't know why I was working for things. I hadn't gone internal, and that's gonna be fine early stage, but it's gonna hurt you long term, because maybe you've been doing entrepreneurship for a bit of time and you've lost that fire that you used to have to just get after it, to just work, to be excited to build things. If that's you, then you need to have your why. You need to find your why, because this wears off. Okay, it wore off about a year into entrepreneurship for me, and I had to find my why, because otherwise I just wasn't motivated to work. I just hated working, and I was forcing myself to work, which is never the good thing, because it's all about the intent once again. And once you've actually found your why, you can then think about your how, and then you can actually start executing it. Okay, so this video I hope was helpful. It's not really as practical as my usual content, but this is exactly what I needed at 10K a month. It wasn't anything else really. It was just my mindset that was keeping me stuck there. So go ahead, think about these things, implement these things. I would really suggest, if you want to find your why, because I don't just want to tell you like what to do in this channel, I want to tell you how to do it. If you want to find your why, go for a big walk. I went for a 4-hour walk in the forest. Like there's a forest nearby, not a single human in there. I just went for a big walk, thought about things very, very closely, and that was how I was able to find my why. And I had to do that a couple times. So see you in the next video. Subscribe for more. I'm going to try and hit 1,000 subscribers in the next, I think, 80 days, because this is day 20 of posting every day for 100 days. See you in the next one.